We're doing an interview with Larry Welborn. If you missed the first one, you can go to YouTube and type in Larry Welborn. It'll be the first thing that comes up. And this interview is just going to be a little bit more in depth. Okay, Larry, in 1986, you got a gold record from Paul McCartney.
Right.
After Paul bought all of Buddy's rights to all of his songs. Mm-hmm. And he sent you and Sonny Curtis a gold record because he found out that y'all never got anything out of it.
Right.
So at least you got a gold record.
Yes.
Okay. All right, now.
Would you like to buy it?
Yeah, I'll buy it. Now, this first picture is a picture of Buddy Holly, Bob Montgomery, and Larry Welborn.
Right. Playing a stand-up bass.
Playing an upright bass. Mm-hmm. And where was that taken?
At McKenzie State Park in Lubbock, Texas.
And you were playing for the radio station?
Yeah, KLLL, I believe, at that time.
Okay. And how much money did y'all make doing this gig?
Usually about $50 a piece.
$50 a piece.
Yeah, it's more than what you make now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot more. And in this next picture, we're going to move up right here. Now, this is a picture of Elvis Presley. Larry Welborn's right behind him. And farther back, that's Scotty Moore, who was Elvis's guitar player. Far over to the right, it's Bob Montgomery. And then in the lower corner over here is Buddy Holly. Y'all were all watching something that was going on. You were looking towards the stage.
Yeah, that was a show where Elvis wasn't really the star then. He was, they had Ferlin Husky, I think, and Farron Young, and Carl Smith, some of the old singers.
So Elvis and Buddy were both opening acts?
Right.
Or subsequent acts
at that time.
Okay. And this is the show where after y'all got through, that Elvis went with y'all to play at the Cotton Club? Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
And that's because our manager, which is right over here, High Pockets Duncan, he worked out at the Cotton Club, and him and I think Dave Stone kind of started it or something. And anyway, Elvis went out there because of the radio station, and it was the Cotton Club, and that's where.
So did Elvis actually perform with y'all?
Yeah, he performed out there. And
did his band perform, or did y'all play for him? Or
yeah, Scotty and Bill played, and Bill hollered at me one time, and I went out on the stage and worked with Elvis.
Oh, so you got to play with Elvis, actually. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's try one more of these.
Just about 2 songs, and then Elvis said, "Get him off."
Yeah, I'll bet. No, you were quite renowned as a bass and guitar player at that time, as everything that I've heard indicates. Now, this next picture, that's a picture of Buddy holding his Stratocaster. And then this is Bob Montgomery.
Right.
And that's Larry playing the bass. And this is Don Guess.
Don Guess was his name.
And he was playing steel guitar.
Right.
And it looks to me, Larry, like you're the only one left of that bunch.
Come to think about it.
You've done pretty well then for a young musician.
I sure have.
All right. What do you happen to remember?
I've been blessed.
Songs? What songs Elvis did when y'all played at the Cotton Club?
That's All Right, Mama, Blue Moon of Kentucky, You're Right, I'm Left, She's Gone, some of those old things.
All right.
Teddy Bear.
What about Buddy? What type of songs was he performing at that time? At
that time, we were doing kind of a lot of the old blues, the rock and roll, like Elvis did when he was starting. It was just.
Did Buddy have any hits out at that time?
No,
he hadn't really come onto the scene at that time.
No.
Okay.
But we did like Fats Domino and Elvis, all that stuff. Back then, Bill Haley and the Comets.
Did a lot of cover tunes then.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at one more picture here. Now this is Larry playing with a different band. This is Larry playing lead guitar. In fact, that is Buddy's guitar that Larry borrowed from Buddy. And he's playing with a group.
Right.
He's playing with a group called the 14s.
14s.
And the 14s actually had some modest hits.
Yeah, we was on Challenge Records.
And that was owned by
Gene Autry.
Gene Autry. Okay.
Mhm.
This is Brownie.
Brownie Higgs.
Okay. And this is Terry Nolan
Right.
and Joe
Joe B. Malden.
And they formed the 14s.
Right.
And if you go to YouTube, you can find some 14 stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's several songs that they did on YouTube. But
And
tell
Joe
me,
B. just passed away, which is a real shame. He's a nice guy.
yeah, and so did Bob.
Yeah, Bob
Recently.
Montgomery.
Also, in this picture, I think you're not playing that Strat there, are you?
No, I think I'm playing a little Gibson there. Not for sure.
Okay. How did you come about having Buddy's guitar when you were playing with a different band?
We were still working together some, just, as friends. We just playing together, and I had my guitar in the shop, I think, and anyway, I needed a guitar to take a picture with, so I just borrowed Buddy's and took it out there. He was real nice about it, he wish I hadn't give it back.
Yep.
No.
And I heard on the radio, I cannot substantiate this, I don't know if it's true or false, but this guitar was bought at one time for $400,000. And I heard just on a radio show that somebody else bought that guitar from the guy that purchased it for $400,000 for right at $4 million. But I don't know that that's true, I just heard it on the radio.
Yeah.
Okay, and I notice here the drummer has just got a bass drum and a snare. Is that common back in that?
Just for that picture, actually. Yeah, he had a full set.
Okay, and this amplifier is an old Fender of some sort.
Right. That's one I was playing through.
And it looks like Terry is playing a guitar left-handed.
Yeah, he is. He's left-handed. I think he lives in Oklahoma City now.
So he's still alive then.
Yeah.
All right, well y'all are still winning then.
Right. So.
Okay, Larry, how did you get started playing guitar?
Well, first off, our brothers, Ray and Dwayne, they had an old guitar that they played and finally threw it up in the attic. I got it out and put some strings on it and started trying to play. There was a lady in Durant, Oklahoma, that was Sister Patillo. She played piano. Her husband was a preacher. And she showed me some guitar and bass. I'd stand up in a chair and played stand-up bass at the church.
How old were you at this time?
I was about 8, probably about 8, and then I did a song on KSCO called My Son Calls Another Man Daddy, and that was on a religious show, and Brother Patillo was saying, "Don't let your son call another man daddy," he was preaching.
Yeah, doing a church service type of thing. Okay. How did you meet High Pockets Duncan? I know he was the manager for
Buddy
Buddy.
and Bob. Yeah, actually, he wasn't a manager. He just booked us in places. And he was the disc jockey, and we'd go out there every Sunday and play at KDAV. And then he'd book us in grocery stores and things like that for grand openings. Service stations, anywhere we could get a job.
Who else did you play guitar for that may have had some fame that people may have heard of?
Waylon, I guess, and
Yeah, I remember, I'll tell you a little story about Waylon. Several years ago, he called the music store looking for you, but I didn't know it was him. He just said, I'm looking for Larry, and I said, well, I'll have
You
Larry.
said,
I
"Who
said,
is
"Give me-"
this?"
Yeah, I said, give me your phone number and I'll have Larry call you. And then I said, who's calling? He said, this is Waylon Jennings. And I said, oh, I see. And I thought he was just pulling my leg, you know. I didn't really think it
And
was
you
him.
said-
So I said, yeah, well, this is Willie Nelson, but you're still gonna have to give me your phone number. So later, a couple hours later, you called me and you said, yeah, that was Waylon. And I said, well, I guess he thought I was a real jerk.
He called me. No, he thought it was funny.
He laughed it off, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's about the only famous person I've ever talked to besides you. So, all right. And also, you played for Wynn Stewart.
Yeah, he had out that song. His biggest hit was "It's Such a Pretty World
Yeah,
Today."
yeah. And he also did Another Day, Another Dollar.
Another Day, Another
Yeah.
Dollar. Several hits.
And you also played for Sheb Wooley, who was a comedian. Larry, tell us about the time you played with Hank Williams Jr.
Well, we was in Houston and playing at a place called Fool's Gold. And Hank Jr. come out there as a guest star, and he borrowed one of my guitars, scratched it up pretty good. Never offered to pay nothing. So Hank, if you're listening,
You owe Larry for a guitar.
guitar, yes.
What about Johnny, Jerry Lee Lewis? Did you ever play with Jerry?
Yeah, we played with him out in Atlanta, Georgia. He's something else.
Was he?
Yeah.
Is
Don't
he as
talk much
wild?
about him.
Is he as wild on stage as as wild off stage as he is on stage?
That's what I heard.
Oh, you didn't know for sure?
Of course not.
We were talking about a place that y'all opened up for different famous people.
Yeah.
They may not have been famous at the
Fair
time.
Park Coliseum.
Yeah.
KDAV would bring shows out there, and later on KLLL did the same thing. But when KDAV was bringing shows out there, Elvis and Johnny Cash was all just getting started. And we'd open up the show, and then maybe Johnny Cash would come out after us, and then someone like Farron Young would come out, or Ferlin Husky,
Oh, wow.
and Ernest Tubb, you know. They were the big stars then. And then later on, well, it got to where they'd have us, Ferlin or somebody, and then Elvis, you know. And Johnny Cash got to where he was really big out there too.
So did you ever open up or play for with Willie Nelson?
Yeah, we played out in Las Vegas. I played at the Golden Nugget, I guess about 3 years with Kenny Vernon, and Willie Nelson was out there playing the Nugget while we were out there.
And Kenny was the one that opened shows for Merle Haggard.
Right.
Until just
Yeah, until his
till
death.
he died.
Yeah.
Larry, tell us about the time that y'all loaded up and went to the Big D or the Louisiana Hayride.
Louisiana Hayride.
And,
Yeah, one time Elvis told us, he said, y'all come down to the Hayride, man. I'll get y'all on. And we said, okay. So we loaded up and went down there.
How'd you drove High Pocket's car? Is that right?
No, buddies had just got a Nosemobile,
Oh, okay.
and we drove down there, and
Elvis wasn't there.
Elvis wasn't there. That's right. I was trying to figure out what it was. Elvis wasn't there. He'd gone on tour. So Buddy went up and told him, said, well, Elvis told us to come up here. He said, I don't care what Elvis told you. You're not going on the show tonight. So we didn't.
So they turned Buddy Holly down
Yeah.
being on the show. So
Right.
I bet they live to regret that.
All right, I'm just going to keep the cameras rolling, Jason. Here's a picture. Tell us who this is, Larry. All right, Larry, tell us, who is this in the picture with you when you're getting your gold record?
That's Buddy's brothers right there. Buddy Holly, Travis and Larry Holly.
All right.
All right, Larry. So here's some business cards. Why don't you tell me about these?
Okay, this was Buddy and Bob. Back then, they had Johnny and Jack, Jimmy and Johnny. There's all country artists, you know. So Buddy and Bob was singing. And then when High Pockets would book us out, he named it Buddy, Bob, and Larry. So that's the way the Larry came about from that. And this one over here is the 14s. We was on Challenge Records, which was, like I say, Gene Autry's label. And we had out 3 or 4 songs, I guess.
What is this card right here, Larry?
I think that's where Buddy and the Crickets, Buddy come over to the house and give it to my dad. All these cards were in my dad's wallet, you know, so.
They were well worn.
Well worn.
After he died, we found them in his wallet. He kept them all those years. They were in his wallet for probably 20, 25 years.
Yeah, at least.
Okay, Larry, you also worked for Sheb Wooley. He was a comedian and singer.
Right, he was on the Buck Owens show.
And they were actually, you were
But
playing
I was
for him.
backing him up, right.
Okay, and y'all were actually on that tour when they found out that they got the syndication for the Hee-Haw show.
Right.
Is that, yeah. And but that show was apparently had several stars on it touring around the country.
Yeah.
Do you remember who else was on that show with you?
Sheb Wooley and Susan Ray was the girl's name that sang. And
Yeah, I remember seeing her on Hee-Haw.
a guy, I think his name was Tom Tall or something like that. He was, but mainly it was just Wynn Stewart and Buck Owens.
And you and Don Rich got to be pretty good friends.
Yeah, Don was a really nice guy. He was just as nice as he looked on TV.
Well, I never heard anything but good things about him.
Yeah.
But, okay, you also played for the Compton Brothers, who were another comedy type routine.
No, they did several things, but yeah, they had out, just moved into my new house today.
Oh, that haunted house song. Okay. And you also played in several bands with Bobby Keys, who was the saxophone player for the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, when we was out in Lubbock.
So how did you meet Bobby?
I'm trying to think. I think Bobby just come up to a jam session or something where I was, and he wanted to play sax, and he started playing a little sax, and I got to taking him out to Slayton to his grandmother's house, and we got to be pretty good friends like that.
And he also just died
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us a little bit about Waylon, how you got to meet Waylon, and I know he was a DJ in Lubbock.
Yeah, that's where I met him. I knew Sky Corbin and Slim Corbin and them, and I'd go up to the radio station quite a bit just to see him, and I met Waylon up there, and he was from Littlefield.
So all these guys mostly were from right around the Lubbock area.
Yeah.
I know also that you knew the Maines brothers real well.
Right.
And Kenny Maines.
Kenny Maines, Lloyd.
And Lloyd's an incredible steel player. And I know you're still in touch with Lloyd quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Lloyd's daughter is the lead singer for the Dixie Chicks.
Right.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Sean, do you have any questions for Larry? Okay. Larry, I know you're still playing guitar and still working every weekend. Tell me a little bit about where you're at and what you're doing and what's going on. Some of these people that hear this YouTube may want to come by and see you sometime.
Okay. Me and my brother is working at the country music place in Meade, Oklahoma. And we play Fridays and Saturday nights. And then we have a gospel night once a month. It's on a Tuesday night, the first Tuesday of the month. But otherwise, we're playing Friday night. It's kind of like a Branson show. Different singers get up and sing. We back them up. And my brother is a fabulous steel player.
Well,
And I really enjoy working with him. It's the first time that we've got to work together, and it's been great.
and your niece also is
Yeah, she plays bass.
plays bass and is a really good singer. And
My nephew sometimes plays drums. He's one of the best drummers you'll ever see.
also on the show is Boyd Newton, who owns the country music place,
Right.
and Marty Hyder, who's the
Yeah,
drummer.
who's a drummer.
Marty was raised up in music all his life. He's a good singer and a good drummer.
Yeah, he sure is.
Uh,
It's a good place to come out to if you like good country music.
yeah, it's very family oriented.
Yes.
There's no alcohol, no drugs, anything like that. It's just
Right.
real wholesome.
Yeah.
And it's free of charge on Friday nights, and Saturday nights it's $5 cover
Right.
charge to get in.
Yeah, so
But-
it's cheap.
And anybody that wants to come through and meet you, I know you'd be happy to meet them and shake hands with them and
Sure.
tell them all about your exciting life.
I'd love to.
Okay, I guess that'll do it for this version of our YouTube video, and hopefully we'll be making another one here not too far in the future.
Good, good. Well, thank you very much.